playoff time in the Western Conference. We got different teams, different stories, but they're all fighting for the same thing. Got young teams trying to establish themselves in the playoffs, and some old teams that are just hanging on for dear life at this point. But before I begin, I'd really appreciate it if you drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind later. My name's Tyler Carmona, I write for the NBA on Sports Illustrated, and today we're going to take a look at the Western Conference playoff picture. Starting with Oklahoma City, these guys are just ridiculous. Last year they were the youngest top seed in NBA history, and they've somehow got even better. SGA is probably going to win the MVP, leading the league in scoring. And defensively, they got guys like Lou Dort, Hardenstein, Caruso. And the scariest thing is they haven't even had Chet for most of the season, yet they still broke the NBA's record for point differential. I think the real question here is if Jalen Williams can step up as that number 2 guy. It was a rough playoff for him last year. I think he shot like 42%. This year, probably having the best year of his career, averaging 21 points a game, 5 assists. So I think if he's locked in, this team could run through anybody. At number 2, we got the Rockets, a team that surprised a lot of people this year, mostly thanks to Ime Udoka. This team's just got such grit, top 5 defense. They play like they're ready to fight you in the parking lot. Jalen Green's obviously a bucket. Şengün's an all-star. The interesting thing, though, is this team really only has 2 guys, Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks, on their core that have made the playoffs. But like I said, just such a scrappy team, and in the playoffs, when you're trying to make a run, I think that's what you're looking for. This team leads the league in offensive rebounds. They got guys like Amen Thompson who can really keep up with some of the game's top scorers. I think he held Curry 1 for 10 the last time they played. So really best case scenario, I think this team can make the conference finals, get some experience under their belt, but I don't see them going past OKC. The 3 seed is the Lakers, and obviously pulled off the biggest move of the season this year. And with Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, that's a really scary trio, but they've only played 21 games together. And round 1 against Minnesota is going to be tough. I know Luka played amazing against them last year, completely torched them. The Lakers are 26 in rebounds, Wolves are 15th. With that being said, you have 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA. I wouldn't be shocked if they surprise some people, make a deep run. With the 4 seed, we got the Nuggets, who are just a complete mess as of late. They fired Mike Malone, their head coach, fired Calvin Booth, their GM, with only a few games left in the season. Jokic is averaging a triple-double. He's probably the best player in the world, but there's other factors involved. You gotta hope Jamal Murray can return to that playoff form. We've seen him slowed down by injuries this year, but he's had a decent season, 21 points, 47% shooting. And they got the Clippers, who actually have one of the only people who's been proven to quote-unquote stop Jokic, and that's Ivica Zubac. He's the only player in the NBA that's ever held Jokic under 45% shooting. Can't count out a team like the Nuggets, especially a team with a core that's already won before in the playoffs. With the 5th seed, you got the Clippers, who've been playing some pretty good basketball. They lost Paul George, but it hasn't really seemed to matter. Kawhi Leonard missed a few months, but he's back and he's playing great. Dropped 33 against Golden State. And you got Norman Powell, who's one of those borderline all-star guys who'll give you around 20 points a game. And as we mentioned earlier, they got a real defensive centerpiece in Zubac. When you have a guy like that who you can confidently just put on a team's top paint presence, that's something most teams would kill for. I think there's really 2 big questions in this series. First of all, obviously, can Kawhi stay healthy? That's probably been the question for the past 10 years with him. But James Harden also needs to rise to the occasion. He played terribly last year in the playoffs. It was 7 for 28 shooting. So he's really going to have to step up and keep up what he's been doing in the regular season. And if they do that, I think this is a sleeper. With the 6th seed, we got the Timberwolves, and look, besides OKC, I think this is the team that's best built to make a run in the playoffs. At first, trading Cat didn't seem like the best decision. They were 22-21 by the All-Star break, but since then, they've been a real contender. Got Randall hovering around 20 points, DiVincenzo shooting 45% from 3, Anthony Edwards is going to do what he does. But historically, though, looking at this team, Julius Randle, horrible in the playoffs, 34% shooting throughout his career playoff games. But they do have some veteran presences, though. They got guys like Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, who are really people who the young guys can lean on. These are guys that are going to play smart basketball, be leaders, step up when they're needed to. Mentioning Gobert, this team is very strong defensively. Between Gobert, McDaniels, Alexander Walker, those are 3 guys that are going to give other teams problems. I think that dream Western Conference Finals matchup would probably be Minnesota versus OKC. At number 7, we got the Warriors, who started off the season rough, but they've started to take shape lately since getting Jimmy Butler. At the end of the day, Jimmy Butler is one of the best playoff performers we've ever seen. Steph is Steph, so don't be surprised if this team wins a couple series. At number 8, we got the Grizzlies, just another team full of drama right now. Fired their head coach for whatever reason. They say it was to optimize Ja Morant. but they then replaced him with assistant coaches that head coach hired. Makes no sense, anyways. Ja's been playing better the past few games, and Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, those are the kind of role players you want when you're making a playoff run. I think the best case scenario here is Ja goes off, puts them on their back for a little bit, but let's be honest, this team isn't doing anything in the playoffs. 10th seed, we got the Mavericks, who are in rough shape since trading Luka. Kyrie's out with the torn ACL. Anthony Davis is always going to be injured, it seems like. They do have a nice little double big lineup between Davis and Derek Lively, but like I said, who knows if AD's even going to be healthy. The best case for this team is if Davis just plays fully out of his mind, kind of goes back to that COVID bubble mode. But realistically, I don't see this team winning a playoff series either. Once the Eastern Conference playoff picture gets settled, I'll also do a video on that, but for now, just like and subscribe and let me know what you think and if there's any other teams you think might make a run in these playoffs.